Right now, while you're listening to this, two very different economies are forming around you. And depending on which side you're on, the next few years will either bury you or make you wealthier than you've ever been. This isn't about luck. It's not about privilege. It's about understanding what's actually happening in 2026 and making decisions most people won't even realize they needed to make until it's already too late. Here's what nobody's telling you. The wealth divide isn't widening because rich people are greedy or poor people are lazy. It's widening because the rules of money have fundamentally changed, and most people are still playing by the old ones. You can work harder than you've ever worked, save more than you've ever saved, and still fall further behind. Meanwhile, someone else, maybe with less education, less experience, and less raw effort, is building wealth at a pace that seems almost unfair. That's not a motivational problem. That's a knowledge problem. And today we're going to fix it. Let me be completely honest with you. If you're waiting for things to go back to normal, for interest rates to settle, for prices to come down, for the job market to stabilize, you're not preparing for reality. You're hoping for a fantasy. The economy we're in right now is the economy. This is the new baseline. And the people who accept that truth and adjust accordingly are the ones building wealth in 2026. The people who keep waiting are the ones getting left behind. So what's actually happening? Let's start with the basics. We've spent years dealing with inflation, interest rate hikes, layoffs, and market volatility. But here's what most people miss. Those forces didn't hit everyone the same way. They created winners and losers. And the gap between those two groups is now accelerating faster than at any point in the last 40 years. On one side, you have people who own assets, real estate, stocks, businesses, even treasury bonds, locked in at high rates. These people saw their net worth grow during the chaos because asset prices over time tend to rise with or ahead of inflation. On the other side, you have people who rely entirely on wages. Their income might have gone up a little, maybe 3 or 4% a year, but costs went up 8, 10, even 12%, depending on the category: rent, groceries, utilities, childcare, transportation. They're working just as hard, but they're falling further behind every single month. Now here's where it gets worse. The people who own assets are using this moment to buy more. Stocks are on sale during corrections. Real estate prices, in some markets, are softening. Business valuations are lower. And those who have cash or access to credit are scooping up income-producing assets while everyone else is paralyzed by fear. This is how wealth compounds. Not because someone worked twice as hard, but because they understood the game and played it while others hesitated. Let's talk about what this looks like in real life. Take two people, same age, same income, 5 years ago. Let's call them Jessica and David. Both earned $70,000 a year in 2021. Jessica kept her money in savings. She was responsible. She avoided risk. She waited for clarity. David bought a duplex with a small down payment and a government-backed loan. He house-hacked, lived in one unit, rented out the other. His mortgage was covered by the tenant. Fast forward to 2026. Jessica's savings lost about 15% of its purchasing power due to inflation. She's still renting. Her rent went up twice. David's property is worth 30% more than he paid. His tenant is covering the mortgage. He's building equity every single month. And because he bought when rates were lower, he locked in a payment that's now cheaper than rent in his area. Same starting point, completely different outcomes. That's not a story about privilege. It's a story about information and action. David understood that during uncertain times, real assets protect wealth better than cash. Jessica didn't. And now, 5 years later, the gap between them is massive, not because David was smarter or luckier, but because he made one decision differently. Here's the truth. Most financial experts won't tell you. The middle class isn't disappearing because of policy or politics. It's disappearing because most middle-class people are making middle-class decisions in an economy that no longer rewards those decisions. Saving in a high-yield account that pays 4% sounds great until you realize inflation is eating 3% of it. You're only netting 1% real growth. Meanwhile, someone who bought an index fund, a rental property, or even a small online business is seeing 8, 10, 15% annual returns. The gap isn't closing, it's exploding. So let's get practical. If you want to be on the right side of this divide, here's what you actually need to do. Not someday, not when things feel safer. Right now. Step 1. Stop thinking of savings as your wealth building tool. Savings are for emergencies. Wealth is built with assets. That means you need to own things that produce income or appreciate over time. Stocks, real estate, a business, bonds, commodities, intellectual property. If it doesn't generate cash flow or grow in value, it's not building wealth. It's just sitting there. And in an inflationary environment, sitting there means losing. Step 2. Get comfortable with leverage, but use it smartly. Leverage means using borrowed money to control an asset. A mortgage is leverage. A business loan is leverage. Margin in a brokerage account is leverage. The wealthy use leverage all the time because it allows them to control more value than they actually have. But here's the key. Only use leverage on cash flowing or appreciating assets, never on consumer goods. A car loan is bad leverage. A loan to buy a rental property is good leverage. Know the difference. Step 3. Build multiple income streams. Even if they're small at first, one income source is a fragile foundation. If that job disappears, everything collapses. But if you have a side business, dividend-paying stocks, rental income, freelance work, royalties, anything that brings in money independently, you're insulated, you're diversified, and you're not dependent on one employer's decision to keep you financially stable. Start small. Even $200 a month from a second stream changes your psychology and your strategy. Step 4. Invest in skills that create value, not just credentials. A degree used to guarantee upward mobility. It doesn't anymore. What matters now is whether you can solve expensive problems for people or businesses. Can you run ads, build websites, manage properties, analyze data, write persuasive copy, fix complex systems? Those skills pay, and they're often learned outside traditional education. The people getting rich in 2026 aren't necessarily the most educated. They're the most useful. Step 5. Understand tax strategy. This is where the real divide happens. High earners who don't understand taxes pay 30, 40, even 50% to the government. People who understand deductions, credits, tax advantage accounts, and entity structure pay 15% or less on the same income. That's not cheating. That's the system working exactly as designed. If you're not talking to a CPA or tax strategist, you're leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table every single year. Let me give you a real example of how this works. Let's say you earn $90,000 a year as a W-2 employee. After taxes, insurance, and retirement contributions, you take home about $60,000. Now let's say you start a side business. Nothing huge. Maybe you're doing consulting, freelance design, property management, or e-commerce. You make an extra $20,000 a year. But because it's a business, you can now deduct your home office, your phone, your internet, your car expenses, your software, your education. Suddenly that $20,000 is taxed at a much lower effective rate. You might only pay 12% instead of 24%. You just saved $2,400. That's real money, and it compounds every single year. Here's another layer. If you set up an S-Corp or LLC and structure things correctly, you can pay yourself a reasonable salary and take the rest as distributions, which aren't subject to self-employment tax. That saves you another 15%. Combine that with retirement contributions through a solo 401k, and you're keeping significantly more of what you earn. This is what wealthy people do, not because they're smarter, because they have information. Now let's talk about the mistakes that keep people on the wrong side of the divide. The first one is waiting for permission. Most people wait until they feel ready, until they have enough saved, until the market feels stable, until someone tells them it's okay to start. But by the time all those conditions are met, the opportunity is gone. The people building wealth right now are the ones who started messy. They didn't wait for perfect. They learned as they went. They made mistakes and adjusted. Action creates clarity. Waiting creates regret. Second mistake is lifestyle inflation. You get a raise. You immediately upgrade your car, your apartment, your vacation budget. Now you're making more, but you're saving the same or less. You're on a treadmill. The people getting wealthy are increasing their income and keeping their expenses flat. Every extra dollar goes into assets, not into consumption. That's the difference between looking rich and being rich. Third mistake is ignoring cash flow. People get obsessed with net worth. They want to see their account balance go up, but net worth doesn't pay your bills. Cash flow does. You can have $1 million house and be broke if you can't cover your mortgage. But if you own a small duplex that brings in $1,500 a month after expenses, that cash flow changes your life. It's real income. It's freedom. Focus on cash-producing assets, not just assets that look good on paper. Fourth mistake is not starting small. People think they need $10,000 to invest. They don't. You can start with $500. Buy fractional shares. Invest in a high-yield bond fund. Put money into a Roth IRA. Buy a course that teaches a high-income skill. Start a micro business with almost no upfront cost. The amount doesn't matter. The habit does. Once you start seeing returns, even small ones, your psychology shifts. You start thinking like an investor, not a consumer. Fifth mistake is ignoring the tax code. You're leaving money on the table if you're not maximizing retirement contributions, health savings accounts, education credits, and business deductions. The tax code is written to incentivize certain behaviors: real estate investment, small business ownership, retirement saving, energy efficiency. If you align your decisions with those incentives, you pay less and keep more. It's that simple. Here's the reality check. The divide is growing, but it's not locked in. You're not destined to be on one side or the other based on where you are right now. You can cross over. People do it every year, but it requires a mindset shift. You have to stop thinking like someone who's trying to survive and start thinking like someone who's trying to build. That doesn't mean taking reckless risks. It means taking calculated, informed action even when it feels uncomfortable. Let me paint the picture one more time. In 2026, we have two economies. One where people trade time for money, live paycheck to paycheck, and watch their purchasing power shrink. And another where people own assets, create multiple income streams, use leverage strategically, and see their wealth compound year after year. The gap between these two groups will only get wider, but the bridge between them is still accessible. You just have to decide to walk across it. So here's your move. Pick one thing from today's video and do it this week. Open a brokerage account. Schedule a call with a tax advisor. Research a skill you can monetize. Look at rental properties in your area. Start a side project. Read a book on investing or business structure. Just one thing, because that one thing starts the momentum, and momentum is what separates the people who talk about building wealth from the people who actually do it. If this video gave you clarity, hit that subscribe button. We're going deep on crisis-era finance every single week. Real strategies, no fluff, just the information you need to protect and grow your money while everyone else is spinning their wheels. Thanks for watching. Now go take action.